Da Vinci, the Salvator Mundi, $400 million is the bid, and the piece is sold.
Imagine painting the best artwork of all time, having another painting being sold for the highest price ever, but not even consider painting one of your best skills. When Leonardo da Vinci applied for a job, he mentioned his artistic skills only in the last paragraph of 11. That shows what an incredible person Leonardo da Vinci was. That made me understand slightly more why Bill Gates bought one of his notebooks for more than $30 million, making it the most expensive book of all time. His accomplishments are some of the craziest I've ever heard of. He's respected by every type of profession, whether it's medicine for his incredible insights in anatomy, engineering for modeling and prototyping things like a helicopter more than 500 years ago, or art for creating disruptive artworks that model reality in a way that has never been done before. But there's quite a lot about Leonardo that I didn't know before, which I want to share with you. Understanding his way of thinking and his journey was incredibly captivating for me, so let's delve right into it. In my opinion, he was one of the most gifted individuals in the history of the world, and I can't name one person that could compete with him in that regard. However, he's still a human, as he was self-taught, so it's incredibly valuable to look at what we can learn from him. To my surprise, Leonardo was quite the opposite to the high achiever that we see all over the internet. He was a master in procrastination, working on different projects simultaneously and being distracted by everything as his interests were so wide-ranging. However, he was still a perfectionist, working on his paintings until he obtained the scientific evidence or observatory proof to paint them correctly. But it doesn't stop there. Even though he was daydreaming and coming up with very creative ideas, he was not shy to test his thoughts and actually follow them up by action, a trait that made him one of the greatest.
And then stare for a moment at the face. The face is intently looking at you. It is a strange stare of how do we fit in. And then go back for a moment, stare at the face, go back for a moment, and remember this, which is Bramante's painting of Leonardo, and you realize it's a self-portrait. It is Leonardo standing naked in the earth and in the cosmos and in the spirit of creation, saying, how do I fit in? That was his lifelong project, and why he wanted to know everything that could possibly be known about everything that was knowable.
I have split his story into 4 distinct parts that captures things you might not know about him and enables us to learn from his incredible mind. I would appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss on the next video. Imagine a time when art, science and creativity came together like a beautiful symphony. This was the time of the Renaissance, and Leonardo was at the heart of it. Leonardo was an artist who didn't just paint pretty pictures. He used art to explore the world around him, asking questions and searching for answers. His paintings went beyond the looks, they captured emotions and stories in the most beautiful way. By that, he incorporated his insights from other disciplines, which set him apart by many others. Inside this brilliant mind, there were many contradictions that make us scratch our heads today. He studied the human body in detail to understand it, yet he chose not to eat meat. He designed weapons for war, yet he hated the idea of hurting people. His clothing style was extraordinary, with bright colors. Yet he valued the beauty of simplicity. As he said, in each water drop is the essence of the whole world. Leonardo was like a puzzle, a mix of different pieces that didn't always fit, but created a unique picture. What made him special from the start was that he was illegally born in a small town called Vinci in Italy. In 1452, fate had a different path for him as not being born without married parents. Actually, Leonardo was lucky because he was not being forced to do the same job as his father, who was a notary. A job at which Leonardo would probably have failed miserably. His education was unique too. Instead of going to school, he learned from nature itself. He observed the world around him, and that's what shaped his curious mind. Only reading and the basic math was taught to him. When he was just 14, Leonardo moved to the big city called Florence. Florence is like the Silicon Valley of the past. The hub combined so many different aspects, leading to a spike of innovation everywhere, which was fundamental to his success as well. First, spread of information was easier as the printing press has been invented. Second, Constantinople fell apart and people gathered in Florence. Third, people were more tolerant as he was quite a misfit. He naturally stood out, which later attracted a large following and acknowledgement, but also many critics and refusers of his modern and new ideas. He questioned conventional wisdom with incredibly bold creativity. He was illegitimately born, he was gay, he was left-handed, and so on. The fourth point is that different industries were working together. Bankers, mathematicians, chemists, painters, musicians, and the list goes on. So he met a large number of people that are still known today, such as Machiavelli, Botticelli, Michelangelo, who he didn't really like. So that's incredibly rare over the whole period of time. Leonardo was talented, but there was no profession called artist. You were more like a craftsman or artisan, so one had to seek for commissioned work from rich people. Luckily, he became an apprentice to a guy named Andrea Verrocchio. In this workshop, Leonardo learned not just art, but also how art and engineering could come together. This was a crucial time that shaped his creative mind. He was learning there for 7 years, which was an unusually long time at that point. As time passed, Leonardo's skills grew. He wasn't just an apprentice anymore, he became a master artist in his own right. But there was a mystery too. He didn't finish most of his paintings he started, and people like his father didn't understand it, as he wanted Leonardo to work like a normal artisan would do it. You can imagine that the father, as he was often responsible for the legal arrangements between Leonardo and his customers, would often be frustrated with him. But do you know why Leonardo did it? He kept them around for so long because of his tendency to absolute perfection. So he kept himself asking constantly questions in order to optimize his work. These questions he noted in his diaries and notebooks as to-do lists. For instance, go and study the eyes of an owl. Basically, he studied the things that kept him from making it right. For instance, he studied how the neck muscles really work, and look how he finished his painting 15 years later.
It's amazing how once you figure out one thing, that helps you understand the next thing, and then, the whole thing makes sense. I love it when it works that way.
So Leonardo decided to leave for more freedom, and his journey took him to Milan, a bustling city known for its creativity. There, he worked with a powerful ruler named Ludovico Sforza. In his city, his ideas thrived. He worked on art, sculptures, and even dreamed up things like a huge horse made of bronze. It was a time of blossoming creativity. A lot of people consider the Mona Lisa to be Leonardo da Vinci's masterpiece. However, if history had gone a little differently, there may well be another much larger work at the heart of the Louvre. In the late 1400s, Leonardo was commissioned to create a 20-feet sculpture of Duke of Milan's father on the horseback. Leonardo worked on the sketches and model of the sculpture for an incredible 17 years. However, in 1499, Milan was invaded by the French army and the sculpture was destroyed. But King Francis I was a huge fan of Leonardo, so his path led him beyond Italy to France, where he served the king. Even in a new land, his ideas and designs didn't stop. He left his mark on French soil, showing that his influence went beyond borders. Now let's take a look on what he achieved along the way and how we can use this as an inspiration for our life. Imagine looking at a painting and feeling like you're looking into someone's soul. This is how Leonardo's art made people feel. From the mysterious smile of the Mona Lisa to the way he played with light and shadow. His paintings were more than just pictures. They were emotions brought to life. But what's so amazing with Da Vinci, his mind wasn't limited to art. He had ideas that were ahead of his time by hundreds of years. The greatness emerged from connecting the dots of his widespread observations and investigation. He went down rabbit holes on the weirdest things. His sketches show flying machines and machines of war that were far from ordinary, but basically mirrored how a bird flies. The difference was that he was able to visualize it perfectly while having the obsession to see the smallest detail. He was a visionary, creating blueprints for things that would become reality in the future. Luckily, he documented everything to free his mind and think beyond. Therefore, his sketches and notes are so valuable, as it inspired people multiple centuries later to actually build what he has imagined. Did you know that he often wrote in reverse? Because he was left-handed and it was easier for him to write because of the ink. In 1994, Bill Gates bought one of his notebooks for $31 million.
This idea of visualizing things, being able to draw it out and then talk about the phenomena, that's in all of these notebooks. And so they're unbelievable contributions to science.
With this massive price tag, he put every page behind glass and made an exhibition out of it that toured around the world. Surprisingly, Leonardo's ideas had little influence during his time. Although he was highly respected as an artist, Leonardo's scientific ideas and inventions gained little traction among his peers. But actually it was mostly because he made no effort to get his notes published. I can understand it, as he often risks his life for his discoveries. He needed to cross the line of legal practice and always challenge current beliefs while acknowledging forgotten wisdom of the Roman times. But still, he acted as a researcher in ways such as dissecting corpses to understand how the body works, which was strictly forbidden by the church. But there's much more to Leonardo than science, art and machines. He was also a musician who believed that music and art were like two sides of the same coin. Through his music, he expressed ideas that words couldn't capture. One of his key strengths was seeing the world out of the eyes of a child. He found inspiration in raindrops, frogs and the wind's whispers. His imagination turned dreams into reality, shaping a world where anything was possible. To Leonardo, beauty wasn't just an art, it wasn't everything. He had a special way of looking at the world that made even ordinary things extraordinary. He believed that simplicity was the key to elegance, because he had a unique way of working. This balance between aiming for the best and taking his time shaped his legacy. What's so special about him that his ideas lived on. His art and his way of thinking continues to inspire us today. Leonardo is a great person that reminds me that greatness can come out of different directions. It will definitely guide me, reminding me to stay curious, keep asking questions, and never stop exploring. I have written down 10 lessons that I have learned from Leonardo that will inspire me through my journey now. I will leave a link down in the description to share them with you. I can guarantee you it's worth it to check it out. Please let me know what you thought of the episode and see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.